HIV does not make people dangerous to know, so you can shake their hands and give them a hug. Heaven knows they need it. It's always been my concern to touch people with leprosy, trying to show in a simple action that they are not reviled, nor are we repulsed.
Princess Diana of Wales, the late wife of Prince Charles of the British family and one of the most loved women in the world, Princess Diana's story is one for the books. She faced some controversy before her death, and her life seemed like it was written as one big tragedy. Was Diana ever happy? What was the cause of her death, and did her ex-husband have a hand in her tragic demise? Today we're diving headfirst into the life story of the late Princess of Wales. Stay tuned to know more about the royal family's most loved princess and the story of her demise. Hey, I'm Kat, and welcome back to Rumor Has It. So, you might have heard of Princess Diana, but if you haven't, let's fill you in. The late Princess Diana of Wales was born on the 1st of July, 1961 in Norfolk. She was titled Lady Diana Spencer when her father inherited his earldom in 1975. She ended up being one of the most loved and popular members of the British royal family, and even after her death, her name and good work still live on. Now let's go deeper. Diana's first education was at Riddlesworth Hall at Diss, Norfolk, a preparatory school. Then, in 1974, young Diana went as a boarding student to West Heath in Kent. During her time in school, she showed a blooming passion for music, domestic science, and dancing. She was a real go-getter. She was even awarded Girl Giving Maximum Help to the school and her school fellows by the school. Fast forward years later, she was drawn into the public eye. How did Diana meet the once charming Prince Charles? Well, the royal family and Diana's family were neighbors until 1975 at Sandringham, so their families were familiar with each other for quite some time. However, Diana and Charles met again when the prince honored an invite to a weekend at Althorpe in 1977, and in February of 1981, it was officially announced that Diana was to marry Prince Charles. You might be thinking, oh, what a cute love story. Well, we'll keep it cute, for now.
Very cutesy, very demure.
The royal couple were wed at St. Paul's Cathedral on the 29th of July, 1981 in London. The ceremony drew worldwide attention, with a radio and television audience of 750 million people and 600,000 bystanders along the route from Buckingham Palace to the cathedral. It was truly a sight to behold. And did we mention that Diana got married at just 20? Yeah, Diana was also the first British woman in 300 years to marry an heir to the throne. That's a big deal, and a lot of pressure. She looked just like a princess on her wedding day in a silk taffeta dress that looked heavenly on her. The dress had a 25-foot train that was designed by the Emanuels, and her veil was sitting pretty with the Spencer family diamond tiara to hold it in place. Following the wedding, the newlywed prince and princess made Highgrove House, Gloucestershire, their primary residence, while their London residence was an apartment in Kensington Palace. They had 2 children in the course of their union, Prince William, who was born in 1982, and Prince Harry, who was born just 2 years later in '84. This is where things start to get a bit bumpy for Princess Diana. Just 5 years into their marriage, there was trouble in paradise. The couple started to show that they were not compatible, and the age difference was another issue. In 1986, Diana started an affair with the family's former writing instructor, James Hewitt, and in the same year, her beloved husband resumed his relationship with his ex-girlfriend, Camilla Parker Bowles. Yikes. Speculation began to arise that Charles was not Harry's father and it was Hewitt instead. This was allegedly based on the similarity in physical features between Hewitt and Harry. However, Hewitt and other sources have denied these allegations. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a teensy little favor. If you like our content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps us out. Now, let's get back to it. Princess Diana and Hewitt began their affair 2 years after the birth of Harry, but we'll never really know. A year after the beginning of their affairs, the issues in the marriage had become extremely obvious, and their sadness and attitude towards each other were making rounds in the media, and they were called the Glums. This name was due to their obvious discomfort in each other's presence. Both affairs were revealed years later with the release of Andrew Morton's book, Diana, Her True Story, in 1992. The book revealed a lot of things, including Diana's alleged suicidal sadness, and caused media madness. The people could not believe their eyes. Their beloved princess was unhappy. The princess might have blamed Camilla for the problems she was having in her marriage, but she later began to believe the prince had been involved in other affairs. Prince Charles' mother, the Queen, and Prince Philip had hosted a meeting between their son and his wife to try and settle their differences, but the reconciliation was unsuccessful. Unfortunately, it was announced at the end of 1992 that Prince Charles and Princess Diana had separated on mutual grounds. The late princess's household and office were based in Kensington Palace, while her ex-husband, the prince, was based at St. James Palace and continued living at Highgrove. In late 1995, Princess Diana gave a television interview where she spoke of how unhappy she was in her personal life and the pressure she faced in the eyes of the public. By 1996, Prince Charles and Princess Diana were divorced. The split couple continued to share the responsibilities for the upbringing of their children, and Diana continued to be a member of the British royal family. It was agreed upon that the princess was to be known after divorce as Diana, Princess of Wales, without the Her Royal Highness attached, which was given on marriage. We don't know about you, but that seems like a fair deal to us. Moving on from affairs and into the other things she was involved in, her first tour was in October of 1981, and it was a 3-day visit to Wales with her ex-husband, the prince. Other official visits taken with Prince Charles included India, Australia, Nigeria, Brazil, Canada, Italy, Cameroon, France, Japan, and more. Princess Diana might have been well known for her style and had a close bond with the world of fashion. She was also very well known for her charitable work. During her marriage, Princess Diana was patron or president of more than 100 charities. Diana put in effort to spread work for homeless and disabled folk, as well as children and persons living with HIV/AIDS. However, in late 1993, Diana announced to the public that she'd be reducing how much she'd be in the eyes of the public. This was to blend a meaningful public role with a more private life. Following her divorce from the Prince of Wales, Diana continued to make appearances with the royal family at huge national events, including the commemorations of the 50th anniversary of victory over Japan and victory in Europe in 1995. Following the divorce, Princess Diana had to relinquish all her service appointments with military units and resign from most of her charities and other organizations. However, Diana remained as patron of the Leprosy Mission, English National Ballet, National AIDS Trust, president of Great Ormond Street, the Royal Marsden Hospital, and the Hospital for Sick Children. In 1997, the late princess also attended receptions in New York and London as previews for the sale of suits and dresses worn by her on official engagements, with the proceeds of the receptions going to charity. In 1996, Princess Diana also campaigned actively for a ban on the use and production of landmines. The year of her death, she also visited Angola as a part of her campaign. In June of that year, Diana spoke at the Royal Geographical Society, London, for the Landmines Conference. Following the conference in London, the princess took a visit to Washington, D.C., United States that same month to promote the landmines campaign of the American Red Cross. Princess Diana's last public event was during her trip to Bosnia, where she visited landmines in Sarajevo, Zenica, and Travnik. Now that we're done with her good deeds, let's get into the most tragic event yet and the beginning of the end for the beloved princess. The tragic death of the Princess of Wales took place on the 31st of August 1997, following a tragic car crash in Paris, France. Princess Diana was being transported in a vehicle that was involved in a high-speed accident at the Pont de l'Alma underpass in Paris Central shortly before midnight on the 30th, a Saturday. The princess was rushed to La Pitre-Salpêtrière Hospital, where she undertook 2 hours of emergency surgery before she was declared dead at 3 a.m. Sunday. Diana wasn't the only one in the car that night, unfortunately. Princess Diana's companion, Mr. Dodi Fayed, and the vehicle driver, Paul Henry, also died in the tragic accident. Meanwhile, a bodyguard was terribly injured. The first judicial investigation by the French reported that the accident was a result of Henry's intoxication, speeding, reckless driving, and prescription drugs. However, in February of 1998, the father of Dodi Fayed, Mohammed El Fayed, announced publicly that the accident that killed his son and the beloved princess had been orchestrated to kill them. He accused the Duke of Edinburgh. Once again, yikes. It's clear that the princess's life was filled with ups and downs, but sadly ended tragically. But hey, that's all from us. Now it's your turn. What do you think about Princess Diana and the happenings in her marriage? Do you think Camilla was the reason her marriage to Prince Charles failed? And what about her death? Do you think it was actually planned? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. We love reading your thoughts, so remember to subscribe for the latest on the gossip, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!